Hello, and welcome back to Factorio. I am Dorthek, and this is episode 17 of our Factorio 0.17 walkthrough tutorial Let's Play game. Since recording the last episode, Factorio 0.17.79 became the stable version, and I'm going to assume that everyone has upgraded to that. The main difference between it and the previous stable version is newer tooltips that provide more and better information. I don't think there's any significant differences other than tooltips between this version and the previous stable or the previous experimental versions, but as always I'm going to continue on the experimental branch and I will point out differences between 0.17.79 and whatever experimental version occurs. In the last episode we worked on clearing our space from biters. We killed a bunch of biter nests to our southeast and to our east, and between the episodes I built several large walls. These walls are substantially identical to the one we had built in the west before. There's a belt feeding turrets and a wall protecting them. There's a few places where there was a conveniently placed cliff, so I took advantage of that and not built walls right there. There are no gaps here that might look like there's a gap, but as you can see, there's no way to place another wall right there because that's already cliff territory. I cannot squeeze through there, which means biters cannot either. I've also placed some radars so we can see this whole line. I also built a smaller wall up here in the north to block us off from whatever may be up in this area. And I missed one inserter that I'll fix at some point, probably before the next episode. However, while Big Wall is fed by a long line of ammunition coming in and following around, I did not want to run another line up north because it's fairly far. I would have had to either run it from here all the way across and up, or from here all the way across and up, or through here, and that line would be long and would get in the way. So what I did was simply put down a box here and dump a bunch of ammo in it, which got picked up. I may dump some more ammo later on just to saturate the belt a bit more. We've not been getting any attacks from this side, so this is mostly just a safety precaution. And eventually, once we get our trains up, we can always use a train to bring ammunition up here. That's a much faster way to do things than to use a belt, especially this long a distance. I also disassembled some, but not all of our old defenses, especially the ones here that were here and would be obstructing our buses for the progress. I filled in several spots in the mall that were not here before, most importantly the wall maker to make some more walls. I'd been stealing them from our military science before, but I wanted a bigger supply. And I also built two more assemblers up here. These were not part of the original mall blueprint. This one I believe I built on camera to make turrets, and I added this one to make stone furnaces because we did not have any production of stone furnaces at the moment. And I dismantled more of our starter base. As you can see, there's not a whole lot left. A few belts, some inserters, some furnaces. They will get taken apart as we progress. Our goal for today is to grab this here iron. As you recall, we are desperately low iron on here. We're down to 100,000 iron, which is not nearly enough for what we're doing. You can see that the iron coming into our base is very, very minimal. It's really lacking. Now, we're not using it a lot of it right now, but as soon as we start doing something with it, it will fail us. And same thing with steel. We're just not gonna have, we don't have much steel coming in, and the only thing that's protecting us is the fact that we're not using much steel. You will notice that we're not currently running science, and that's because we don't currently need any of the next 4 technologies that we can research. Combat robotics lets us build some basic combat drones, but they're not really, the combat robots are really not particularly good to begin with, and especially the only ones we can build at this level are very lacking. We don't really need rockets yet, we don't really need energy shield equipment, we don't really need to improve our flammables. And everything else is locked behind blue science. So while we could and will eventually research these, right now I am choosing not to research them to preserve our iron supply, because what we're going to need iron, and more specifically steel, for is rails. In order to capture this iron patch, we need to bring in a lot of iron, which means building a lot of rails. So our basic layout is going to be this. We're going to build a basic train station up here. We will eventually replace it because once these patches get mined out, that's really where I would like our train stations to go. But for the moment, we'll put it here, and maybe it'll be permanent. Probably it won't. And we will place another one over here for eventually for bringing iron into the steelworks. Then we're going to build a rail line north-south here, east-west here, to bring in our iron ore. We'll probably eventually also have an east-west line here to get this oil and down the line some of these other resources. So, to that end, let's get started. We have an awful lot of coal on us because that's used by the car, but we certainly don't need nearly that much. Let's dump some of it, and let's go grab some supplies for railroads. Here we go, and we have about 1,000 rails. That's a start. That's not going to be enough. We will grab a stack of train stations, a stack of let's grab both stacks of signals. We really should make more of these. And we will need to grab at least some locomotives and at least some cars. Let's open that up a bit. Alright, we probably will need more rails than this, but this will get us started. Let's jump in the car and drive over to where we're going to start. We're going to use the unloading station from our train tutorial, and we are going to place it with its head to the left like so. I think about here. That should let us miss the cliff. So we're going to plan around the idea of that's good enough. 2, 3, 4 stations. Let's see if this lets us make our turn. It may be a little too close to this belt. Nope, perfect. And then this turn. Okay. Let's make a copy of this rail, of just the rail portion. We can leave in the station and the signals. We want to leave this and this. We don't want any of these. We don't want this piece of rail here. We just want that. Okay. So we will place that there for spacing. We're gonna run into this, but honestly I don't think we need it at this point. Well, we kind of needed it, but that's okay. We will just lose that. Okay, that's this side. Oh, we need to connect it to here. Okay, and we have signals there. We need a chain signal right here and right here. And then we're going to build our parking bays, our stacker bays. One more. And we're going to build 3 for the moment. We can add more later. We definitely will want to add more later. Okay, and this is the entrance into the stackers, so we need rail signals, and this is the exit, so we need chain signals. Alright, so now we need the entrance and the exit, and in order to have enough space here, what we want to do is start here and go 1, 2, and then make our turn, and that's going to be where the T goes. So we will grab our T and slide it over enough to get it clear of the cliff. Now, of course, we need to connect this to here, but we have the cliff in the way. So normally we would just go right into here, like so, but we cannot do that, so we will have to go around. So oops. There we go. So this will be the entrance. Let's check our signals. We need a chain signal right here. We'll already have a train signal there to tell us whether we can go in here or not. Really, these should be chain signals, not train signals. That was a mistake in our blueprint. No, I didn't actually mean to place those. I'll just ghost place them. Which means this needs to be a chain signal as well. And then here, we do have enough space for trains, so we can place a train signal right here, as that's the exit from the selector block. And then can we fit 2 trains in here? 1, 2, 3. Yes, I think we can. That's one. Right, 1. That's 6. And then this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more. And now we're going into our T. Perfect. And let's build out the T. This is ever so much easier when once you have robots, but we don't, so we do what we must. Let's make sure we have all our signals in place. This is not connected correctly. There should be a signal under here somewhere. I know that's that one. And if you're not sure why we're placing the signals as we are, then check out the train tutorial. It will explain all of these signals in much greater detail than I'm taking the time for right now. Just checking now that I haven't missed anything, and it looks like I have not. So, that's the beginning of our rail system. Let's rename this station. We're going to call this one Base Iron Ore In. Now, some people get confused about in and out. I tend to use it from the point of view of the base, not of the train. So we're going to unload from the train, so it's going to go out from the train and into our base, hence in. And this will bring in iron ore. Now, we need to find a way to get here, and we're going to do that by going south and then across. What I want to do here is set up a blueprint for a straightaway. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to use long power poles, because it is very handy to bring power across along with our rails. So a power pole is a 2x2. So we're going to kind of split the difference here. We're going to put it here, and then we're going to take it straight down as far as we can. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's going to be the length of our basic straight rail segment. Of course, we can always make it longer and shorter as needed. And we can even place some lights next to it. Let's put them like this. So okay, and some more lights. We'll put them on the inside here. And we will put them on the inside here. No, or on the bottom rather. There we go. The lights don't really have any particular pattern. This is just a handy way to do it. Now, what we also want is some signals to go along with this. So we're going to put a regular signal at the entrance, and then we're going to space them apart as appropriate for straightaway. So right there. And then so it looks like we can fit 2. So normally we would put this signal here, and I'm going to do that for a moment, just long enough to get our blueprint done. But we don't actually. That should be a chain signal. And this is not quite in the middle. Let's put it a little bit more centered. So center is around here somewhere. There we go. And on the other side. And over here. And let's see if we get that lined up correctly. Actually, I think I want it on the top. Yes, there. So it's gonna go along the top. So Okay, so now if we make a copy of this, we don't want this curved rail here, but other than that we do. So let's call this straight track. And put it here. Now we'd better fix the signals up here because we just changed them. So we're going to replace this back with a chain signal again. And now, let's see if this worked correctly. We should be able to link our power poles, and yes, it looks like everything comes together correctly, and yes, we do get 2 extra lights, and that's okay. Okay, so that worked. I'm going to take this blueprint and put it both into the train tutorial and into the walkthrough books, and I will update that online. Now, over here we have a problem because we have other stuff happening here, and that's fine. We can jump over the track with this belt. We can temporarily move these here. And we can replace the blueprint. Let's see what we get. So we don't need this. We do need these. We lost the lights here because they would be right here, so I'm just gonna stick them in here to get some extra light. Now I don't believe we can get away with deleting that. Nope, we do need that power pole here. Can we get away with deleting that one? We can. Perfect. So there is our here we need to clear up some trees. Let's throw a grenade. Remember, it's always fine to grenade blueprints. Okay. Okay, now, on our next section, we're going to have a problem with this cliff, and we could... Where do we want to turn? We want to go further because this green circuit array can grow very long. It can easily get to here or even beyond. So I would like to run our train tracks as far down as we can. So I am going to place another one of these blueprints here. And we will note that we have a problem here with the train track, with the cliff. Now, again, if we had cliff explosives, we could fix it, but we don't. So we're going to have to go around. Grenades. That's just the way it's going to have to be. And same thing over here. And once we do get cliff explosives, we can always straighten this back out. The curves are, annoying, but not a big deal. Alright, now we do need our signals here and here. The fact that it's now a curve really makes no difference. So I'm going to build some more of this line off camera because you've seen enough for the moment, and we will return when I get to the curve at the bottom. And I'm going to place this on the toolbar because we're going to use this one a lot. Alright, so now we've reached the place where we can't really go in our straight line anymore because we're hitting the water. Now very often when I need to make a turn, what I will do is just use our one of our T's, like so, and that will give me the option of turning or going straight. However, here with this lake here, we really are never going to go to the left, and we're never going to go straight down. Yes, we can landfill, but this is a huge lake. We're never going to landfill that, I suspect. So we want to genuinely make a turn. Alright, how do we do that? Well, let's see where we can place our next one of these. Like there. Alright, so let's at least take this far. Now, for reasons that will become obvious, I want to get this as far down as possible. So I'm going to take this train track and bring it down as close as I can get and still make this turn. There we go. And then I'm going to take this train track and kind of turn in within it. The way I'm going to keep us separated is by taking our regular long pole and put it right here. This is where we want to end up, and we can immediately see that we're going to need to back up some. And that's a pretty good turn right there. Now, this is where we have our signals. So let's see if we can fit another signal in here. Our 6 will fit there, so if I put a signal here, that will fit nicely. Actually, I can just do it right here. No, let's put it right here. That works. Now, if I put one here, we can fit our 6, and we will be able to fit our 6 coming back. Yep, that works for signaling. If I put this pole here, it's a little lopsided, but that's okay. And now we're just going to run this track all the way east to our to our iron station. Again, I'm going to do this off camera because there's just no sense in you watching me do that. So I have run our train line all the way east out here by the iron patch and placed a few radars along the way as well. We really need a few along here. We will get back to that. So now it's time to do something about the iron patch, which means we need train stations. Let's take a look. So let's start with our load station, and we are going to orient it like so. So let's place it about here. And then we can use that in conjunction with our curved rail from before, like so. And then a second one, just in case we want to load faster. We're gonna place it here. And again. That. And now we're gonna build some waiting bays. 1, 2, 3 for the moment. And realistically, we're gonna want 5. 2 for, so that we can get 2 trains for each, 3 trains for each of these, and then 1 as a bypass. We don't need to build them all right now, but that's the way to set it up. Okay, and as before, we are going to enter into the waiting bays. Let's build out some of these rails so that we have something to work with. Oops. So this will be our... And the trains will go clockwise, so they will come in from here, which means we need a T. Placed about here, and we can't quite place it because some of the stuff here is in the way, and that's fine. Let's get rid of that. We don't need this signal here. We don't want this signal here. Let's make sure we don't have any extra signals that are already in place. And then from here, we're gonna go out and back in. No. Let's place one more of these here. This is going to be our entrance, and it can be quite close because it doesn't matter. And we can, and then from here we need to go right into here. There we go. Now we need to build out this whole T, and you've seen me do this before, so I'm just gonna pause the recording and do that off camera. Okay, that's the T built out. Let's finish the station. Okay, so that's our T completed and the entrance and exit from the station. Let's do some signals. We need to put a chain signal right here. We need to put a regular signal right here on the input, and a chain signal on the output. And we need a chain signal right here. And then of course we need... I've got our train stations going the wrong way. That's not a big deal. We can fix that. Let's erase the train station itself. And I just realized we don't have one that looks at the world from the other point of view. So we are going to just need to build it. So if we place this here, and that there, we're going to need to redo all this, but that's not actually a big deal. It'll just give us another item to put in our blueprint library later on. But we need a regular signal here. Actually, we need a chain signal here. Not a regular signal. And since we don't have stack inserters yet, we're going to use regular inserters. This first car is our locomotive. And the last car is our locomotive. I did pick up some steel chests while we were while I was getting supplies during the train building. We definitely want to upgrade this with batch inserters as soon as we possibly can. And we are going to just do this. And let's place one of these here. And one of those there. And that'll get us power. Let's put some lights in as well. So we're going to name this station Iron Ore Out. Let's call it Iron Ore 1 out, because we'll probably have more than one. And again, out from the loading area into the station, into the train. All right, this is going to be where we stop this episode. We've accomplished a great deal. We've laid a tremendous amount of track, and we've organized our loading station and our offloading station here. We still need to actually build it out, but that'll come next episode. And we are ready to capture this iron, which we will do in the next episode. Until then, why don't you go ahead and try one of these yourself? And I do recognize that laying tracks is kind of tedious, which is why we want to get robots, but you got to do it at least once or twice by hand. And as always, don't forget to save.